Hi, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, and I feel giddy about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
I like that. I like giddy. Take
That's
that.
nice.
That's very nice. Some people can get very mean, and I know that you're not going to do that, Christina. I know you're not.
Damn it. I was going to say I feel really stupid being Conan Brian's friend. I won't. So I will change mine, the nicer part of me.
No, be you.
Go for it. Be you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Christine Applegate, and I feel awesome to be Conan O'Brien's friend.
And you know what?
Cone bone.
I'm gonna
Cone
say
bone.
Cone bone.
Never stuck.
It did. My wife calls me Cone bone.
No, because Tom Hanks came around and did coco.
Oh, yeah.
Coco.
Yeah, he
and then
did.
that became your thing. I was
became-
trying to make cone bone happen. But
I'm
that's
kind of
okay.
glad Coco won, frankly.
Okay.
I'm really
It's never too late.
That can still happen.
Yeah. I was going to start by, first of all, thanking both of you for being here. And I have very distinct memories of both of you. I'm at that age now where I get very sentimental and I look back over, I don't know, just things that I've done in the past, people I've met. Christina, I remember very clearly you being such a wonderful friend to me on the show. You came on the show so many times and you were always so funny and great and miraculous. And I think you might hold some record for coming on the show.
I think I might.
You might.
It was like my favorite thing anytime I got a call saying, hey, even like you sometimes would have like a guest like fall out or something. They'd be like, will you come in? I'm like, absolutely. I would love nothing more. I really you were my favorite interviewer ever. I had so much fun there.
That's sweet of you. And
always.
It helped that you lived in an apartment right above our studio in Rockefeller
Yes.
Center. She lived in
call it an apartment. I was outside the bathroom.
Actually, it was a cleaning closet.
It was a cleaning closet.
And there was a cot. and
Let's
people
be
were
real,
like,
Conan.
I can't believe Christina Applegate lives.
And you guys charge me rent.
It wasn't a lot of rent, but I just, I wanted to start by thanking you from the bottom of my heart for just always being just this light, always such a great guest, always so fantastic. And my memory, I have such a very clear memory, Jamie Lynn. I remembered when The Sopranos first came out and had been on for, I think it was one season. It was the new thing. Everyone was talking about it. And it's nominated for all these Emmys. And we're nominated too. We're in New York. I get on my American Airlines flight and I sit in this American Airlines flight and then the person sits down next to me and it's James Gandolfini, who I'd never met. And we talked the whole way. And he was just talking about I don't know what this is. He had such a, what is this? We're going to an award show. And I went, yeah, you're on the biggest show on television, Jim, and you're the star of it. Anyway, he talked about act. We just had a lovely time.
Yeah.
And
that's so cool.
And my memory is they put me up at this hotel. I think it was the Four Seasons Hotel. And I walk out at one point and you're standing there with your co-star, Robert Eiler, and you're just both standing there and you're kids. I mean, how old would you have been?
17.
Yeah. You're kids. And you were standing there right outside where the cars pick people up and you just both looked like you had been beamed to Mars. Like you're here at the Emmys. And I chatted with you guys for a second and remembered having this weird look at, this crazy ride is just starting for you. And I'm getting a sneak peek. And I remembered you just seeming like, I think she's going to be good. She seems like such a grounded, nice kid. I think you're going to be okay.
That's so nice to say. Well, I can tell you, meeting you was that. I probably looked like I had just been beamed to Mars because that's how we felt seeing you. That's how we always felt, seeing people that we admired. And Christina and I have talked about that you are our favorite show
that's
to do
nice.
because you just, you set us up
when we're talking to you, but when we're talking to Jimmy Kimmel, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, we were lying to Jimmy.
Yeah. I had dinner with...
But I have a distinct memory because my brothers and I bonded over your show.
Right.
Like the bits in your show, we would talk about it all the time. And the first time I did your show, I was able to get my oldest brother, Adam, in the front row there. And that was like, it's one of those like I made it moments that you're able to share with the people that were there with you. So that was one of those.
Well, it's nice for me. It's so funny. I don't know if it's the Irish in me or whatever, but I get very nostalgic for all of us floating along on this journey. And then I see these people along the way. And so to get to check in with both of you is very nice. I mean, yes, this is a podcast and we're doing this and there's going to be an ad or something, but I don't fucking care about that. I feel like I'm talking to you guys. I'm checking in. Both of you have been through so much and you're doing a beautiful thing, which is you're sharing it. You're talking about it very frankly. You have your own podcast, Messy, and it's all about MS, which you're both dealing with, and everything that happens. And I know that you're helping a lot of people. But the strange thing I've found about doing a podcast, and I'm struggling with just inherent craziness, but not MS. But what I have found is that it's healing for me to talk to people. And I'm imagine there's a component of doing this podcast where both of you are maybe doing some healing for yourselves about having this problem, that you're being able to talk about it openly in this forum is probably helpful to you.
Well, absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's how this all came about, was when I came out with my diagnosis in 2021, our friend Lance said, you got to talk to Jamie, because I'm sure you feel like you're on an island and you don't understand what's happening, and that's the person to talk to. And I had met Jamie a few times over the years, and it was like we got on the phone and we were on the phone for hours, and I felt like so less alone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get teary when I talk about my James, but
yeah,
it healed me in that moment, and that's how this happened. It was like we're talking about so much information and so much stuff that so many people newly diagnosed, or even people who have been diagnosed for years, might not know about, or want to say the things that we say, like the brutal honesty about how painful it can be, how lonely it can feel, how awful it is. And then, that's only coming from my mouth because I'm negative Nelly. And then Jamie will be like, but let's breathe, and I love you, Jamie. No, she gets pissed off about it too.
She's not wrong.
Here's the interesting thing is it's not that one way to go is wrong and one is right. They're both.
No. I was totally kidding. By the way. It's like we have helped each other in the sense that I get to see a different side to all of this because of her.
Yep.
And she gets to be honest about how she feels sometimes in ways that you didn't, right? I don't want to speak for you, but that's...
Jamie Lynn, you got diagnosed much earlier than even I knew. I was familiar with your diagnosis, but then I was shocked to find out that you got your diagnosis when you were on The Sopranos. You were also working on Broadway at the time. And I just assumed that this came, 10 years later because you didn't talk about it. You were afraid to talk about it because you thought you could get fired. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of reasons. I think the initial, drive to keep it a secret and protect me was the fear of being fired, the fear of not being hireable, the fear of what people would think about this and me with this. I also think it allowed me to live in a state of denial for some time, because if I didn't talk about it with anybody, then maybe it wasn't real. But then, over the years, as the disease started to manifest into what it would be for me physically, and I started to have to make up excuses and lies, it was really difficult. And as much as I could regret that choice, I think it's really informed a lot about me and my life. And, now what's so beautiful, with Messy and having Christina, and what I've learned about myself through this process is, when you find community and when you talk to somebody else, you can almost witness yourself a little bit, and you can kind of take a step back and really acknowledge what you're going through, and acknowledge that it's hard, and that it sucks, and that it can be unfair and all of those things, but also really see the catalyst of it being the catalyst for a lot of growth and self-reflection. And, I've lived with the disease for almost 24 years now. I was diagnosed when I was 20. And so I'm finding my way through and finding sort of the purpose from this pain. And I feel like, that's all you can do with situations like this. And Messy is really what's propelled me into that way of thinking now.
The great thing about this arc is you decide I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and then you have this other success on Broadway, but then you come to the Late Late Show. There are a lot of successful segments, but the carpool karaoke just blows up, and I rarely see other people do things. I like to the things that I do in comedy are things that just appeal to me. And it's not often that I see someone else do something where I think, oh man, I wish that had been me. But when you spent the day, and because I ran into you once and asked you about it, I'm such a Beatles fanatic. And when you spent the day with McCartney, I was just like, damn it, why couldn't I have just been in the back seat listening? Why couldn't I have been there? Because that was just a dream come true for me.
It was extraordinary.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're like this, but I'm rarely aware of what a great time I'm having. It's only retrospectively I look back and go, oh yeah, that was fun. At the time, I don't,
you're just in it. You're in it and you're doing it, yeah.
But doing that day was I just knew that we were doing something that was incredibly special. I think I knew before I even watched the edit that it was like, okay, well, this is the pinnacle of this bit, and it's all going to be. It's really up to us how slowly we can glide away from it. We won't hit a peak like this again.
It's not just that you're in a car with Paul McCartney and you're singing Beatles songs, but you're driving through Liverpool.
Yeah,
because that's going to fire neurons in McCartney, and it clearly did. That. Yes, he's giving interviews all the time to everybody, and he's sometimes probably saying things he said before. But if you're driving him around Liverpool, neurons are going to fire, and he's going to say things that maybe he hasn't said before. And that's the impression I got of that time you guys had together.
Completely. Well, I think what I realized that day is it's actually true for anybody who's left their hometown. Anybody who leaves their hometown, when you go back. Like, I can't remember what I did last week. If you said to me, what did you do last Tuesday? It would really take me a long time to go, what day was Tuesday? I can remember the journey from my house to Richard Shedd's house, to Greg's house, to Andy's house, to school, to the back of like that. Yeah. And so when you go home, you're so acutely aware of the road you've traveled from it. You can see it. So being there with Paul, who, he was kind of reticent to do it.
You did mention this to me. You said that you'd been, obviously he's the obvious person to go to do carpool karaoke, and that looked like it was going to happen, but then
he was out, and then he was back in, and then he was out again, and then even on the day.
What do you think the reticence was about?
I just think at that point, that segment, you could so clearly view it in numbers. And I think he felt like, but I think when you're in if Justin Bieber was in the car last week and One Direction in the car next week, do you look like you're Paul McCartney, or I think he was aware of trying not to look like he was trying to grab onto something that was perhaps quite young and youthful. And I was saying to him, look, Paul, we've never done anything like this where we've traveled somewhere. We have a stunt at the end. We're going to go into your house. We are giving this everything. We're going to switch places and drive my car. We will not let this fail. We will not, even if one of these bits doesn't work, there's going to be 3 other bits in the segment that will. And even on the day, he said to me, we were in this hotel again, like hair and makeup, and this is where we're going to leave from, and microphones and all these things. And he said to me, he said, James, can I speak to you for a minute? And I said, sure. And we go into this walk-in closet, and he shuts the door, and I say, you okay? And he goes, I don't want to go in my house.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't want to go in. I've never been in. Whenever I bring people to Liverpool, we just drive up outside and I show them the house and I drive on. He said, I feel a bit weird about it because it's now a National Trust house.
Yes,
so
yeah.
it's all been it all looks the same. And he said, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And I was thinking, okay, this is quite a big bit that we were going to do. But I just went to him. I said, Paul, there is the only point of today is that you and I have a great time. And if we're having a great time, this is going to be great. You shouldn't be worried about anything. But I wouldn't dismiss anything now either. You don't know how we're going to feel. We'll have been in the car for 45 minutes at that point. So why don't we do this? We'll pull up outside. And if you give me a look that says you don't want to go in, we'll just drive on. And I'll take the hit for it, right? I'll say it was me, it was my fault. But you shouldn't overthink it in any way. So we're doing it. It's all going great. We're having a great time. We're singing the songs and we pull up outside. And then I was thinking, oh shit, I should have said code word. Because what if he's giving me a look and I
you don't know what the look is.
We never really worked out what it was.
Because he does wink a lot in conversations.
Exactly.
Which
I know.
means,
What if he has gas?
Yeah. So I'm going, and it's in the finished clip where I go, do you want to go inside? And he goes, yeah, let's go in. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we,
But let's go in was the signal, meaning let's not
leave.
go in.
Let's leave.
You fucked it up! But he's never forgotten it.
That day, I've never seen people. You know how now, like the selfie is the thing. Everyone wants a photo. I have never seen people not be wanting anything from someone who's famous. They just want to thank him.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. Like going up Penny Lane and going in the barbershop and all those things. You know when people go, oh my God, it stopped traffic. But it didn't. Not really. Traffic standstill. Yeah. People just, every car around this roundabout, just no one moving. Yeah. Just there's Paul McCartney on Penny Lane. And then going into that house and all these things. I've just never, ever been so aware of like what an absolute privilege a day is to spend a day like this. I'll never ever forget it.
Well, very nice to have you here.
And
there is so much to talk about because you and I share certain experiences that I can't talk to a lot of people about this. Meaning,
it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yes, we've both murdered without conscience, and we've never been caught.
I think the term is manslaughter. I don't think to be clear.
Yours, can I just say yours was manslaughter?
Yeah, yours was actually.
Mine was. I thought about it for a long time.
No grounds for manslaughter.
It was murder.
Straight
out. I thought about it. I got the tub. I got the various chemicals.
Oh God! Wow, this is really taking a ticket. Now I am wary about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
You should be wary. No, we have a lot in common. And then I thought I'd start with the obvious one, which is we've both hosted late night shows, and it was so interesting to me because I read a quote from you once that I could relate to a lot, which is you said when you were picked for the Late Late Show that you thought, well, this is absurd. I've never stood on a monologue, Mark. I've never interviewed anyone. This shouldn't be what's happening. There was this sense of, gee, I haven't done any of the things that you're supposed to have been doing to be a late night host. But I thought I had other qualities that would out in the end. Yeah. And then it turns out that this very strict notion that we have here, I mean, these are really an American invention, these shows, I think. This really strict notion of what a late night host had to be changed a lot.
I think when I think about back when I started in amongst an entire out of body experience of feeling just unbelievably out of my depth and deeply unqualified to do such a thing. But I think I just was not completely aware of the the history of the form in a way. I read, when I got the job, I read all the books, which, you know, you're very, very heavy, much written about in lots of the Bill Carter books and things like that. And I read them all, and I was like reading them thinking, this is nuts. You shouldn't be reading any of this.
No,
this is
the
so silly to be reading this.
It is so foolish to be reading books about basically when you host one of these shows, you're going in to be yourself and create an environment where you're happy and you're doing your thing. So the idea that you would be studying for it, you can't bone up on any of this. There's no school for it. You just have to do it, and then increasingly find the things that you love to do those, keep doubling down on that. And you did that, and it was fantastically successful.
Well, that's it. I really remember quite vividly a sort of light bulb moment where we only had, I think we had 11 weeks to put our show together, build a set, get a team together, writers, all these things, segment producers and all this stuff. So there was really not a lot of time to think about it too sort of existentially. And then I would spend a lot of time, we couldn't really book any guests on the show because all publicists were just going, well, understandably, we're going, well, we're going to wait and see what the show's like, and then we'll book them. And we would be like, I don't know that we have that time, because we were going to follow Letterman's last, I think, 2 months, maybe 7 weeks. And then we were following like repeats of Hawaii Five-0 through the summer.
It's my dream to follow a repeat of Hawaii Five-0.
It was actually one of my funniest bits we used to do, where we'd follow like Hawaii Five-0 or shows of that ilk. And so we'd start episodes through the summer with a mock episode of Talking Hawaii Five-0. And we would just discuss what happened in that episode. And then sometimes, because the episode would be from like 5 years ago, and we'd find the guy who played like the guy at the newsstand.
That's fantastic.
And we'd be like, so anyway, we knew we had this little bit of time, and I was just thinking, God. And it's a strange thing about how you can sort of change your attitude really to how something's going, where I would sit and I would think, God, nobody knows what, no one knows what I can do. Nobody knows what we could do. No one knows what this show is. And then you just have a moment when you go, oh, hang on, wait, nobody knows what I can do. Nobody knows what I'm capable of, and nobody knows what this show is. Oh, wow. All the things that I thought were negatives
are positive.
Just suddenly became positives. So it's like, well, it doesn't matter then.
It boggles my mind how people manage to, wherever you place someone in the world or whatever situation you place them in, if they're meant to do something, I have this theory that like a salmon swimming upstream, they will figure that out. You have a moment when you're a kid where you very much realize, because then you have 2 sisters.
That's right. Yeah.
And your sisters are very funny, charismatic.
Oh, I'm the quietest.
You're the quiet
our
one.
Entire family.
But
no one can ever believe that.
What's your moment when you're looking at? Do you go to the theater? Where do you go? Where do you see it? Is it television or theater? Where do you look and say that? What is? Because I remember my moments when I'd say, "What is that? I want to be doing that."
Well, it's less so about seeing something. What a real big memory of mine is I can remember that I was 4 years old, and we were a Salvation Army family, so we used to go to church of the Salvation Army, and which is a thing in of itself, which we'll unpack another day. And
I have to be honest with you, I don't know what a Salvation Army family is.
Salvation Army is kind of different in America than it is in the UK, where basically, and when you, like any church that you're born into, you think it's completely normal that on a Sunday your parents put on a uniform and you go down to church, and then you march through the town while your mum sings in the choir and your dad, is playing in the band. And this is just completely normal. We're walking through the town. This is what everybody does.
And it's the uniform that we know here in the U.S. as
correct.
The Salvation Army uniform.
It kind of looks
like a military.
Bit, it looks like a police. It looks like a police uniform, and your parents are wearing it, and your mum's got a bonnet on, and then you'll go to the morning service. You'll rush home eat a roast dinner, which is essentially what Americans do on Thanksgiving. You'd eat that every Sunday.
Good deal.
Until you can't breathe. And then you'll go back at night and do it again. And there's a brass band and all this stuff. It's absolutely absurd. But when you're like 8, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, up until I was like 13, 14, where I was like, so when you say weekend, you mean you're playing like soccer or any of these things? Nothing, zero. But
well, I love the assumption that you think everyone else is. Well, it's the weekend, so I guess your father is going to dress up
completely
like a corporal and bang on a drum
and sing "Onward, Christian Soldiers" as you walk through the town. Yeah, that's. We're all doing that, right, guys?
It's funny. I grew up very Catholic, and I just remembered thinking, well, this is what people do. We go to church, and then these magic tricks are performed where a cookie is turned into the body and blood of Christ, and there's incense and chimes are ringing, and I just assumed that this is what everybody does.
Yeah,
and then you realize,
true.
oh no. Yes, there's a large number of Catholics, but no, not everybody. Not everybody's watching this Las Vegas act every weekend.
Correct. That's it. So,
but I say that I don't say that with disrespect. I have the greatest respect for Las Vegas.
And Siegfried and Roy were your pastors, right?
Yes, they were. Until, unfortunately, you know what happened.
So I'm 4 years old.
So you're
so
doing
I'm
that.
4
You're
years
4.
old. My sister's being christened, which is the equivalent of sort of being, I get, christened. You call it christened, right?
Sure,
In other churches. So she's being christened, and our family is on the platform, which is kind of any other parlance would be a stage, and the Salvation Army officer, who the vicar or the priest would said, James, you can't really see. Let's grab him a chair. And he got me a chair, and I stood on this chair, and then suddenly I could see the congregation of this church, which was probably 17 people. In my head, it was 1,000.
Sure.
And I looked out, and then I just sort of like started pulling like a face and gets a little giggle, and then do something else, and they giggle, and then I still remember turning around and looking under my legs, and they're all cracking up laughing, and I can remember. Well, the weirdest thing is I remember them feeling amazing, and then going back to join the congregation and sitting between my elder sister and my mum, and I'm back in the sort of the rows of the church, and there's someone's back in front of me. And I remember thinking, well, this is boring compared to being up there.
Up there is better.
Up there, good. Down here, bleh. And from then on, just became a quest to be like up there. And that was it. Like, I really, really remember that. And then we would go to the theater all the time. Like when I was sort of turned 11, we didn't have much money really.
Right.
But so I never used to get like birthday presents or Christmas presents. I would just get theatre tickets, and we'd go and see, Starlight Express or Les Miserables or The Phantom of the Opera, any of the big running musicals. And I would just remember sitting there just thinking, well, this is the most extraordinary feeling. I'm in a room with 2,000 people. This is just magic. This is amazing. How can I be a part of this somehow in any way, shape or form? This just feels completely right in every way.
One thing I wanted to touch on that really speaks to how much things have changed is, you see Cheers now, and it's replayed, all over the world constantly. And what I always appreciate is it has a theme song. And not only does it have a theme song, it has one of the best theme songs ever. But it is no quick affair. It is a real theme song. I think it charted too. I think it was up at the top of the charts, that song, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Everybody Knows Your Name?
It was going to the top, except Billie Jean came out in 1982.
Yeah.
And I couldn't moonwalk.
But I was thinking about it. I was thinking about so much of my childhood affection revolves around these theme songs. The Get Smart theme song, Hawaii Five-0, F Troop. You know, I mean, that's one an amazing, but just that would tell a story, and an amazing music in these orchestras, Wild Wild West, just incredible theme songs. And you think about today, they're gone because you can't spend the time.
No.
A show has to start immediately. You can barely show the title of the show, and that's about it.
Yeah, because if you have a theme song, it takes away from content, and you can't do it anymore. Again, Cheers said we had 26 minutes to tell a tale. Now you only have 21 and a half minutes, so there's no time for a theme song. That's you know, the theme song is that tells the whole story of that show. It was written by Gary Portnoy and Judy Hart Angelo. Judy is the wife, or is the widow of John Angelo, who's my close friend, who was an investment banker, and called me and said his wife is done raising kids. She wants to go back to music writing. Can she send you a song for your show? And so that was a song they sent.
And you guys knew right away when you heard that song.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God! And you know, if you Google it, the lyrics that were originally written are really funny lyrics. But we couldn't do. You can't do a funny lyrics every week.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so that we made them more generic. But it's a wonderful song that encapsulates that show perfectly.
So people for years now have been saying, well, the sitcom is dead. And I know that they've said that repeatedly off and on for 40 years. You're not buying it.
Me?
Yeah, you don't buy that it's over for the traditional sitcom.
Well, I've dressed in a dark suit about 4 times for the death of sitcom. You know? And every time I've gotten to the funeral, they've closed the casket.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned now. This is the first time. And I don't know why studios aren't doing it anymore, or networks aren't doing it anymore, or even streamers are not doing it anymore. It's economical. It's funny. The audiences love it. They watch all these shows in reruns. So I don't know. I have no reason why it is declining so much.
Yeah.
I've listened to people try to explain it. And I can't explain it, but selfishly, I was there for a golden age of television when it was king. So I'm sad now that it's there are very few. There's like The Neighborhood, you know, Cedric the Entertainer Show, and Chuck Lorre has Bob Hart's Abishella. But I don't know any other sitcoms.
You know, I had this thought a couple of years ago, maybe more than a couple of years ago, but it was around the time that, you know, people were wondering, well, what's going on with the multi-camera sitcom in front of a live audience? And I started to wonder if there's a generation, I'm thinking about my kids, that have come of age watching single camera, no laughs, single camera, and that it becomes, and maybe this comes from reality television, that it's inculcated in them that that's the real world, that a proscenium, people making entrances and there being applause, is not the real world, but the world is portrayed in The Office that looks more like a documentary and looks more like a lot of the content that they've grown up with, feels more real to them and authentic.
Maybe, but Friends is still the most popular show.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and that's in front of a live audience. So I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You know, you need one great sitcom, but I haven't seen it come down the pike yet.
You very much regretted that you didn't get to direct. You wanted to be the guy that directed most of the Friends episodes, but you weren't able to commit to that early on in the show. You did the pilot, and you did a number of those shows.
I did 15 of them.
You did 15 of them. Did you know right away when they got that group together that...
I knew. I have, on all the sitcoms I do, on all the pilots I do, I have a test audience 3 days before we shoot the show. I have a single camera, and that helps me if there's a set that the whole audience can't see. The camera will go down there and just shoot a master so the audience can see it. And on that show, it was through the roof. That's that single camera audience. They love those characters. They love them. And, I did the first, I think, 3 or 4. And, there's a story about me taking the cast to Vegas because I knew there was something special about this show. That happened on Will and Grace. That happened on Cheers. The only show that happened on that wasn't a success was a show called The Class, which was written by David Crane and Jeffrey Clarick. David Crane was one of the writers on Friends, one of the geniuses on Friends. And that had a great audience, but it never made it. But you can sense in doing the shows whether the audience reacts to it. And I knew then and there how good that show was. And I often, you talked about casting before and how lucky you are. That show was done in '94, and I had agreed to do 4 pilots already. And they sent me, Martin and David sent me that script. And I said to my agent, wow, I have to do this show. It was, in fact, 95% of the script that was sent to me ended up on the air. So I said, I have to do it. So it was the last pilot I did in 1994, and those 6 people were available. So that'll tell you how lucky you have to be.
Yeah.
Jen had another show that we were in second position. She was doing a show called Muddling Through on CBS, which somehow they got her out of, and Matt Perry had done another pilot, and that pilot didn't go. But those 6 people...
And you think about if something had been just a little different, that chemistry wouldn't have been there.
No.
And these are now iconic TV characters. But you're right. People don't realize how much of... I think this occasionally when you find out that Humphrey Bogart was like the 9th choice to be in Casablanca, and he was not thought of as, he was not a leading man, but that's how it worked. He was available, and
right.
A bunch of the other people they wanted were not available, and so that's how we get Humphrey Bogart as Rick in Casablanca, and it's the same thing with these television shows. It's a million things have to go wrong for it to go right.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's so I often people how did you find? They think of them now as stars, and how did you get them to agree to do Friends? But they weren't. They were Lisa was on a Cheers. She was on a Cheers. She played an actor in Woody. Woody Harrelson was in a community theater, and she was the actress with Woody. And so, it's just, they were unknown. Nobody knew these people. And all of a sudden, bang. That's the kind of show I like. I like a show where you bring a cast of people nobody's ever seen before.
Right.
Because then the audience feels like they've created a hit by liking these people, and they've created stars. So that's because you bring these people, you've never seen them before, so you have the sense of surprise when they, oh my God, that person's funny. With somebody like Bill Cosby who's real funny, but you cut to Cosby, something funny's going to come out of his mouth. When you cut to these 6 on Cheers, you cut to the people on Friends. Yeah, I'm sorry, you cut 6 on Friends, and you cut to the people on Cheers or Taxi. You have no history with them.
Right.
So
Will and Grace. I didn't know those performers. Yeah.
No. So they open their mouths and, oh my God.
I also think there's something when the people watching it it's the people that made them stars.
Right.
They weren't brought in as stars.
Right.
So, we're saying, no, those people are stars. I like these guys, them, they're it. And that's much more magical than this person's been around in show business for 30 years as a legend, and now we're going to give them their own show.
Right. So that's almost all the shows I've ever done have. I tend not to want to work if you got a star in the show. It just because you have to serve the star, and it's just it throws off stuff for me. I like the unknowns and having an audience discover the unknowns.
Well, this has been a huge, as I said at the beginning, looking forward to this. This is a treat for me, a huge treat, because I love your work. I love television. You're so smart about comedy. And I do recommend people, this book is fantastic. And you can read this book if you're in theater, read this book. If you're interested in television, read this book. If you're interested in comedy writing, read this book. Comedy performing, read this book. It's just and read it a different time for each reason.
Buy a different copy.
But yeah, buy different copies.
Yeah.
No, it really is. And on a personal note, I'll tell you, when I got started with my late night show and was going through a really difficult period and getting written off all the time and constantly reading that I was going to be canceled, I ended up, I'd say about a year or two into the show, it was very early on, and I ran into you someplace, and you were very encouraging to me and said some nice things to me, and it meant the world to me. It was a huge deal. And I remember thinking, well, if James Burrows thinks I'm doing an okay job, then I think that I'm just going to live off that for about a year or 30. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you for, I think you have provided me with maybe 85,000 laughs in my life. So
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. This was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't believe this, because this will get people's attention if you want to mark how things have changed. The final episode of Cheers watched by 84.4 million people.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Now, I heard anecdotally the other day someone was talking about a network show, one of those kind of reality game show type shows. I don't remember which one, that it got picked up for another season, and it got a 0.5 in the demo and got picked up. That's the world we're in now.
Yes, it is.
That if you can get 9 people watching a television show, you are, everyone wants to hand you a cigar and pop the champagne. And it must seem otherworldly to you.
It's. I think, was it David Zaslav, who's running Discovery now, said there's 580 shows on the air now.
Yeah.
And there's I don't know how many networks, 100, maybe 150. I always say, when I started out, there were 3 networks and 30 great comedy writers. Now there are 150 networks and 30 great comedy writers.
Yeah. Yeah. But that goes to this image I've had for a long time, is what changed is the technology. This delivery system changed so that suddenly, instead of there being 3 networks, not suddenly, but very quickly, and especially with streaming, there was the capability, because of the delivery system and the economics, that's what changed, and suddenly there could be 600 shows. But why would you suddenly expect humankind to suddenly get 500 times more talented? It's not, and I always think of it as people wondering, I don't understand, technology just enabled us to widen the bathtub by 50 feet. What happened to the water level? And this is what it is. Now I think there's a lot of really brilliant stuff out there, but it's still hard to find because the volume is insane. The volume of just noise, and there's just, I'm always cast adrift. If I don't know specifically what show I'm looking for, you can't scroll. I used to just scroll through television back in the day.
Right.
And you could find something that caught you. There's no way you would scroll now. It's like saying, I'm just going to wander the Mojave Desert and see what happens.
My wife and I have done that, and we've wasted the entire evening scrolling and never watched anything. And it just became like walking through the video store or something.
Yeah, it's because the shows that are hits, like Ozark, and it has 5 million bites on Netflix, or it's just, those are rare, and probably if you cull it all down, it's probably the same as when there were 3 networks.
Yeah.
All the good shows, because that's where all the shows went. All the good shows went on those 3 networks. So it's just now so diverse that you can find a specific show for your idiosyncrasy and watch it. And maybe 4 other people are watching it.
When I first got started back in 1985, there was always this kind of sense out there that the place people really wanted to get to was movies. You could because that was somehow more prestigious. And that would be something that you'd hear sometimes. Have you ever thought of writing a movie or get into the movies? And I always thought, there's nothing better for a writer than television. In, as you know, you can do such good work in television, and because of the way it's structured, writers have a lot more power in television than they do in movies.
Oh, yes.
In movies, they're completely rewritten. They're at the very bottom of the totem pole in movies, and have always been treated with a kind of disdain. And let's just get another writer in here, and let's completely redo it. But writers are at the center of television, and so much of, one thing I really love about your book is you just reprint pages of great dialogue from all these shows, and I'm reading them, and it's like you say, it's just great radio writing. The rhythm is all there. It's terrific, solid writing that is as good today as it was when it was first done. Mm-hmm. And it's all, was brilliantly realized. Whereas if it were a movie, I think the chances are a lot of that could have been rewritten, tossed out, cut out.
The dialogue in the book is from the shows, from some of the shows I've done, but that's tried and true because those sequences got huge laughs. Mm-hmm. And when we're doing a show, if you write a joke and it doesn't get a laugh, you go back and rewrite the joke. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't get a laugh, you go back and rewrite the joke. You don't rely on the writers. You rely on 200 and 300 people behind you. Mm-hmm. In movies, you're relying on the director and the writer, and it may not, appeal to an audience, but that dialogue in there got huge, huge laughs, mm-hmm. especially Will and Grace, which is just probably the funniest show I ever did.
Really? You think Will and Grace, I've loved that show, but thinking of all of them, you think that was it the writing or the writing plus the cast?
It's the cast. It's outrageous. It's the first really, other than Third Rock from the Sun, which I did, the pilot of, mm-hmm. It's the most outrageous show I ever did. I like to say it's a fairy tale, figuratively and literally. It's a show with 4 girls.
Yeah.
And it's just the jokes are so hard and so strong, especially Karen's jokes and Jack's jokes. And, Cheers is my favorite and will always be my favorite because I'm part of birthing that show. But Will and Grace, laughs per page is the funniest show because Cheers we were about 4 minutes longer than Will and Grace. We were about 26 minutes. Will and Grace was 21 and a half minutes. So you could go a couple of pages without a joke on Cheers, which we did. A lot of Sam and Diane scenes are very riveting. Mm-hmm. And, tension-filled, but there's always, after a page or 2 pages, there's a joke that undercuts it all and makes it, it relieves you from the anger, from the dramatic moment. But on Will and Grace, you couldn't do that. You didn't have enough time. So it's just joke after joke and just the funniest show, per
the compression, the comedy compression is there, and that show had such a fascinating arc because it ran, had a great run, big hit, beloved. It leaves, and then it comes back a number of years later, and I was hard pressed to think of another show that did that.
The Connors.
Yeah.
The Connors.
That's right.
Their show's just as good, even without Roseanne. It's amazing. Because they have that, it's one of my favorite shows because they have that style. They underplay everything. Everything is like this, Goodman is like this and Laurie's like this, there's not effort, but there's this rhythm in that show. They don't hit you over the head with the jokes. It's just, wow.
I want to make sure I mention this. All the Demons are here. This book is out. There's a large chunk at the end, which is telling you, it's giving you basically factual follow-ups. Wouldn't you say that's true?
What are you talking about? The end notes?
Yeah, end notes.
The end notes are just I put those at the end of every book so people
Right.
can know what's real and what's not real from all the stuff I write about, because there's historical fiction. It's historical fiction, so there's real things. And if you want to know, did Jake make up Viva Knievel, or is that a real movie? And you just go, no, Viva Knievel was a real film. And then I do the review from the 1977 Daily Variety. In the most daring feat of his career, Evel Knievel leaps over a mountain of blazing cliches and a cavernous plot. That's so real.
You know what? I think that critic had made up their mind before they went. I think they went, to hate Evel Knievel's movie. I would have written a wonderful review for that movie. Well,
I think Gene Kelly was in it.
well, there was an era. Do you remember was it The Swarm? It was about bees, killer bees coming up, and they got huge stars to be in these things.
All the Irwin Allen disaster
And also, all the
films.
Irwin Allen disaster films had the biggest Hollywood stars of the 30s and 40s and 50s were in disaster movies in the late 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And it's mostly them saying, my God, how could this have happened?
Think about The Towering Inferno. It had Paul Newman and Steve McQueen
And O.J. Simpson.
and Fred Astaire.
That's right.
Keep going. That's it.
Fire.
Roddy McDowell's in all of them.
Right. And George Kennedy.
George Kennedy is in almost every disaster movie.
But you talked about the killer bees thing in The Swarm.
We've alienated so many people on this podcast.
So can I just
today.
tell you about The Swarm?
Yeah.
I mean, not The Swarm, but killer bees. So in the 70s, this was a legitimate fear. Who's old enough to only? Are you the only? No, you maybe you too.
No. I love that you pointed to Blay, who's actually about 22. But he went through a horrifying experience 2 years ago.
Do you remember killer bees? Okay,
Yeah,
so
killer bees were a big thing that were going to kill us all.
So right, they were coming from South America. They did a horror movie about it called The Swarm. There was an NBC did a special about it. And researching this book, I found out that it was all pretty much invented by Rupert Murdoch to sell papers.
Oh my God.
He sucks.
In San Antonio.
I'm not prepared to say that.
The first newspaper,
Cooper.
he bought these San Antonio newspapers, and they basically scared the shit out of the country to sell papers. And the killer bees were a real thing, but it was going to take years for them to get to the United States, and it wasn't like one would sting you. It'd be like 1,000 would have to sting you to kill you. Anyway.
No. I remember it was again an incredibly cheesy, kooky movie about the killer bees coming and taking over towns. And I remember there's at one point, I think it was Michael Caine was a scientist in it, and he said,
The Swarm, is that
and I don't
right?
do a Michael Caine impression. It'll just be Nixon again. But no, but Michael Caine says, I can't believe it was the bees. They've always been our friends. Of all the insects, it was the bees.
It's more like I can't believe it was the bees.
Oh.
It was the bees.
It's a slow. I'm really shocked. It's not a
Can't
good
believe
Okay, but there you go.
it was the bees.
Well,
that's
no, that
cool.
took a turn.
Well, I'll try again.
There you go.
Try again.
There it is. There it is.
Bees. I love bees, Mary Poppins.
All right. Fool.
Do you remember
When I'm the voice of reason here, then the shit has hit the fan.
Do you remember the horror movie starring Michael Caine called The Hand?
I just watched that.
Did you watch? Really?
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, I adore that movie.
He
It's
is a
horrible.
cartoonist
Uh-huh.
who loses his hand in a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
and then the hand starts killing people.
Mm-hmm.
The hand escapes and starts killing people. And then, should we do the spoiler alert or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Well,
worry
you're
about
not
it.
sure whether it's
Is it in his
he's
head?
imagining it or it's manifesting his
Like, is
desire
he
to kill
killing? Is he
people.
killing people?
Yeah.
And he's imagining that it's his hand creeping along.
I'm going to say no. I'm going for it's actually the hand.
Correct, but you don't find
Yeah.
that out to like the last minute of the movie.
It's
Guess
the
who
70s. I
directed
didn't
and
need
wrote
it.
it? Oliver Stone.
Yep.
Who plays a cameo as a bum in that movie
Yep.
too. Yeah.
We
We got more time. Let's cover some movies.
we've got
Atlanta, you're live.
Atlanta, you're on the air.
This is what talking to you does, Jake.
I know.
Because your books are filled with all this stuff, then the next thing you know, we're talking about the hand.
Yeah.
And so we might as well get the word out on the hand.
Yeah.
I think
Written and
okay.
directed by Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
And that same old story about a cartoonist who loses his hand, 1981. And the hand, of course, goes out and kills people.
Yeah.
So check that out. I'm sure that's one of those movies that when you look for it on streaming, you will not find it.
Oh, I got places.
You got places.
We know you have
dark
places.
web. You go to Sona's house and check out her dark web,
Yeah.
where she has the squishy porn.
I'm gonna watch
Reddit subreddit.
tonight. I'm gonna watch
porn.
Wonka chugga. High five. All right. Jake Tapper, book. It's a thriller. All the demons are here. Book. It's a book. Go and read it. Book. No, you're a New York
Jake
Times
Tapper,
best-selling author.
Yep.
This is a big deal.
Yep.
It's a cool thing.
Well, thank you so much. You guys are you're very kind.
We're not professional.
No.
I don't know that we've helped you in any way.
Yeah,
But
I think your listeners read books. I think they do.
They do. They're very.
we're trying
think
to
you're a
we're,
smart
we're
group.
trying we're trying to weed them out.
We're trying to change that. Yeah.
I think you have smart
We
listeners.
do. We
I
have
really do.
actually. We're very. We have very cool fans and very erudite fans, I believe. All right, Jake Tapper.
Thanks, guys.
God
It's great
bless
to
and
be
go
here.
in peace.
Thank you so much.
I was in Washington D.C. not long ago for to help usher in Adam Sandler getting the Mark Twain Award, because Mark Twain, Adam Sandler are often mentioned in the same breath. And it was a really fun event. A lot of people came out for it, including the ghost of Twain, who was not happy. But that aside, because I was in D.C., I reached out to Jake. I let him know that I was in town, and you invited me over to your home.
Yeah, he came over to the house.
Oh,
We had dinner at our favorite restaurant,
Mhm.
and then
Chipotle.
he was.
It's actually it's a very good restaurant where Wolf Blitzer shows you to your table. It's called Blitzers, and they just sell blintzes.
That's it.
It's
But many flavors.
yeah. Oh, so much. There's 36 flavors of blintz, and he shows you to the table, and then it's embarrassing because he hangs around until you tip him. But we had you guys. We were very nice because you invited me to your home, and I don't think I told you this, but I got there. I took an Uber over, and sometimes Uber's not precise, and I took an Uber over from my hotel to the address that you gave me for your house, and I realized I'm like 10 minutes early, so I'm just going to walk down the street. It's a really nice neighborhood, and I'm walking down the street a little bit, and this father-son come walking up the street. They're walking their dog, and they said, hey, if you're lost, Jake's up that way. And they pointed me to your house.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess it's so clear that I'd be the only person I'd here to, be seen with is Jake Tapper. But anyway, we went out, we had a really good time. It was fun. And then this is where you and I are in such symbiosis. You said after dinner, we went back to your house and you said, here, I want to show you something. And we walk around the neighborhood. And you said, see that house right there? That's where Lyndon Johnson lived when he was in the Senate. And then he was like, let's go this way. And then he shows me another house. And he was like, see that house? That was J. Edgar Hoover's house. And I said,
Clyde.
And Clyde. And I was like, this is fantastic. And of course, I know that about you because in your books, and you're here to talk about, among many other things, you've got a new book, All the Demons Are Here, and you're picking up on these characters. He's actually the children of the two characters you've been describing and depicting in your other books. But you have all these great pop culture references and political references to the 1950s and 60s in the other books. And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it.
You were one of the first. I sent a copy of the first book to the Hellfire Club, which takes place in '54 and has our favorite president, President Eisenhower, as a character in the book, and that was really exciting because it was basically a book written for me and you.
Yeah. No, I actually fact-checked the book. I was like, wait a minute. No. He had his heart attack in his second term. I saved you from massive lawsuits.
That was close.
My life has changed so much, Sona.
Has it?
Yeah. Let me tell you how. I can just get all this stuff delivered right to my door. I mean, if you grew up when I did in the early 1920s, that was unheard of, A kid in a cap had to, hey, boy, and you'd say, yes, sir, and you'd have to say, toss him a coin. Go get me that goose in the window. And he'd say, yes, sir, Mr. Scrooge. But that was like back then.
Yeah, but now it's not.
With so much of our world digitized and automated, why stick to old school mailing and shipping? If you mail or ship often, let Stamps.com do the hard part for you. Simply print postage and shipping labels right from your home or office. It's ready to go in minutes. No long lines or complicated setup required. It's the easiest, Sona.
It's the best.
Yeah, postage rates just increased again. Hello. Luckily, Stamps.com has the best discounts in the industry. Avoid the hassle and get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up at Stamps.com/Conan for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com/Conan. Jake does a very good job of, and I'm about talking like you're not in the room, but I'm instructing. These two don't read. They don't know how to read.
They don't.
Never learned.
They don't read.
Well, no, you read the novelizations of old Dynasty episodes.
Okay.
But
no.
That sounds pretty good.
they're actually very good.
So you do too.
Yes.
He writes them.
I write them.
Is that a real thing? The
No,
novelization?
it's not.
No,
but it will be.
I don't think so.
It will be.
That's $1 million idea.
Well, let's do it. You heard it here first.
It's really good. Have you ever, those clips pop up every now and then, like an old Dynasty.
Oh, they're
No,
fantastic.
they don't, Jake.
Not on TV, on like Twitter or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
They'll be like Alex Carrington. Is that the names
Yes.
of the characters?
Alexis
Carrington. And
I loved how many times one of them got shoved into a pool. They just decided that was what you do is when one woman with wearing a dress with massive shoulder blades and a massive ring, who's an icon, pushes another into a pool.
a lot of pools were handy. Back
Yes.
then, it seems.
And sadly filled with acid. You'd hear, and then a skeleton would float to the top. Listen, we got way off topic.
Okay.
What I was trying to say to you guys is that Jake takes all of these true life events and he writes these novels, and All the Demons Are Here is one of them. And they're really, I enjoy them so much because he has got the characters bumping into people from in the, let's say, late 40s, early 50s. Then the second book was in the 60s.
Second book is The Devil May Dance, and yeah, that was the Rat Pack. And
Rat Pack.
Sinatra's like a big character in it, yeah.
Right, and I love you have members of the Rat Pack out trying to help solve the crime, which was really funny to me. That it's just like, no, I think they wouldn't have been in any shape. Dean Martin's like, now hold on a second.
And then this one's 77, and like the main character, one of the main characters is Evel Knievel.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Evel Knievel's one of the main
Now you weren't alive because this takes place in 77 and it takes place after Evel Knievel's jump of
I
Snake
was
River
born
Canyon.
in 73.
Okay,
So
but
you were one when the Snake River jump
But
happened.
boy, was I there.
Yeah. I remember
Biggest fan.
there is footage of a little boy wearing a tweed suit and large glasses that only an adult would wear.
I stowed away in his saddlebags and made the jump with him.
Yeah. They said he would have made it, but he was unfortunately 1.5 pounds too heavy. And it was all tweed. I remember that. Now you and I
wear this goddamn sweater.
you and I would have similar memories because in this book it takes place in 77, and I remember 1977 very well because all these epic things happened. But you do reference the Snake River jump, which was a couple of years earlier, and that was such a huge event. I remember as a kid, they told us that they were going to put Evel Knievel in a rocket and fire him over a canyon. And nothing sparked our imagination more than that. And there was I don't think it was broadcast. All I know is that we were visiting my cousin in Worcester, Mass. And we raced out to the car to listen to what happened. And they said, well, looks like he didn't make it. And I thought,
They thought he died.
They thought he died
Yeah.
because he misses. I don't even think he came close.
No, he did not. It was like one of those rockets from like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote rockets, like really makeshift. And one of the other things that's so weird about it is that this was actually considered like an athletic event. Like he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. This is not a sport. This wasn't, first of all, he was barely a good motorcycle rider to begin with. Like he just was like
He was willing to try.
Yes.
And it's so funny because in this book, one of your main characters, one of the two children,
Ike,
and Ike is working with, and you make this point that he's not even riding motorcycles, and I'm guessing that you have done the research on this. Ike is complaining because he has to kind of check out the machinery and everything, and he's working for Evel Knievel, and he has to check out the machinery, and I'm guessing you researched this, that he's riding bikes you're not even supposed to jump in.
No, they're not good. They're not good for jumping.
It's like Harleys and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really weird, but he was just willing to do it, and he built this, incredible career that kind of, in 77, is kind of the beginning of the end of it. 74 was like his big. There are people our age, Conan, who think that they remember him jumping over the Grand Canyon, but that never happened. It was Snake River, and he never made it. It was in a rocket ship, not on a motorcycle.
Yeah, let's clear that up. Because we have people. No, we get people texting us all the time.
Yeah, Evil himself.
Yeah, I interviewed Evel Knievel on the late night show.
Did you really?
And all I remember is it was not long before he passed, and he didn't move very well.
No.
And I remember because I think the thing that every kid knew, this is how big Evel Knievel was. We all knew everything about Evel Knievel. I had his toy. There was
The ripcord, the wind up.
Yeah.
yeah, you would wind up a motorcycle and you could do jumps with it. And I spent thousands of hours with my Evel Knievel wind up. And it would crash just like Evil would and fly into pieces. But Evel Knievel, what we all knew is that he had broken every bone in his body like 15 times.
And so there's a scene at the beginning of the book that's based on a real event, which is in January 77. He literally jumps sharks. Then this is like 7 months before Fonz did it.
Wow.
Like he set up a pool in Chicago. And I think ABC maybe had soured on him, so he was doing it for CBS. It was a special. It was going to be hosted by Telly Savalas and Jill St. John, of course.
And by the way, they were the original hosts of this podcast. It was Telly Savalas. It was Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend with Telly Savalas and Jill St. John.
And he was going, and it was, and everything, because this is post Jaws. Jaws was, huge bestselling
75,
book.
yeah,
and huge film, and so everything was Jaws, and so he came up with this idea. And so much of the stuff in the book having to do with Evel Knievel is just real from his actual press conferences, from his actual events. And he in rehearsals hurt himself, and so the entire special went on, but he wasn't part of it. And
yeah, because who needs Evel Knievel in an Evel Knievel special?
He didn't jump the shark at all?
he did, but he landed wrong. His problem was always the landing,
But you mean he hurt himself
not the jumping.
Okay. In the rehearsal and then went on to do it, or didn't?
No, was rushed to the hospital with broken bones.
What
and
was the special? What did they do?
all the other side acts.
Yeah. And occasionally they'd cut away to the hospital. And the doctor would say, we're extracting a shark's fin. What's funny that's in the book that you talk about, and it's a really funny scene, is them trying to get the sharks, and they don't get good sharks.
No, they're awful sharks.
They're like small sharks that
they're like little lemon sharks.
They're in no way. He's basically jumping, koi with larger dorsal fins.
And they had a camera in the pool just in case he landed in the pool. You could see the shark eat him.
Oh my God.
And the sharks were treated horribly, and like a bunch of them died on their way from Florida to Chicago, where they held this in the middle of the winter in January.
Stuff you couldn't get around. I mean,
Jesus.
now if you want to abuse a shark, it's much harder.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, you looked into it.
Oh, trust me. I have a beef with those sharks. The 70s are filled with, let's just try it. And in this crazy kind of way, like
It's true.
the Brady Bunch, which had been off the air for like 5 years, and someone said, what if they had a variety show and we dressed them all kind of like Evel Knievel, like in jumpsuits,
Right.
and we put them in a giant soundstage with a Olympic-sized swimming pool, and we got a bunch of synchronized swimmers, women as synchronized swimmers, to do Esther Williams stuff from the 1940s.
Right.
And we'll have them all sing songs and dance. You mean the kids from the Brady Bunch know how to sing songs and dance? No, I have no idea. That's not important. It's the 70s. We're all on coke. Who cares?
Right. And then they're like, Eve Plum won't do it. She says it compromises her. Because just get another blonde lady.
They did. They replaced Eve Plum,
Just get someone else.
the middle daughter, and they got a different person to play her, and they
For
never addressed.
integrity reasons she wouldn't
No,
do
I
it?
don't know why she wouldn't do it.
I think at the time she thought, she heard an Olympic-sized pool, and she said, this probably doesn't sound good. If they had come to her like 3 years later, she'd have said, where do I sign? But it was just a crazy time.
I went out to dinner last night, and our waitress was raised on a houseboat, and I said, "Oh, like Quincy," and the blank stare that she gave me, Quincy M.E.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's a generational gap.
Do you not know who Quincy is?
I don't know who
Jack
Quincy
Klugman
is.
played.
Oh, Jack Klugman.
Do you know Jack Klugman?
No.
Do you know The Odd Couple?
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
talking about human lives here.
I don't know what you're doing.
That's Quincy.
Quincy's.
That's Quincy.
Oh, Quincy.
Quincy was a show about a medical examiner.
Of
And he was
course.
played by Jack Klugman, and it was kind of a big show.
Huge.
And he lived on to
Okay.
give him some color. They had him live on a houseboat,
He was a ladies' man.
and he was a ladies' man.
Okay, he was a ladies' man.
But my
medical examiner.
My favorite, I saw a trailer once for a Quincy episode, this in real time in the late 70s, and they said, and tune in tonight. You know, Quincy goes to the track for some fun, and it shows a horse racing, and it shows the actor who plays Quincy, Jack Klugman, going, go, 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 when the horse goes down, and you see the horse collapse, and you see like literally hooves in the air, and then they say, Quincy, they just have a shot of Quincy, and he's looking down at the horse, and he looks up dramatically, and he went, this horse was murdered.
That's so good.
And I was
I
like,
can't believe
it was
I
like,
don't know
It was like
this.
1980, and I was jumping up and down in front of my TV set. This horse was murdered.
But that's one of the shows that. What was the show you did with Adam West? It was
Look Well. Yeah.
Look
we
Well.
Did Robert Smigel and I did a pilot for Adam West called Look Well about a
and Quincy was one, like Banachek, Quincy, all those shows.
Mannix.
Were like they were part of what inspired you.
Yes, there were.
A guy who doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But he's like in part of the system. He does a
No, you know what he is?
but he does it
government
his
job.
way.
And also, people are always saying to him, Quincy, come on. It was a clear heart attack. No, it wasn't. And I'll prove it. And then he goes rushing off. And it's so much. Go on YouTube and look at these Quincy clubs. There's one.
I'm okay.
Go
the
ahead.
Quincy clips.
I'm okay.
No, go do
No,
that
no,
right
no.
now.
I'm busy that day.
No. Just
Yeah.
put the kids to sleep early.
No,
like
wake,
at 3 in
wake
the
them up
afternoon.
early.
You know what you would like, Gourley?
Change my kids'
Gourley,
sleeping
you know what you would
schedule.
like? And then
What?
we'll move on to more prosperous areas. But I swear to God, there's a clip out there. There's an episode where Quincy encounters the phenomenon of like punk music and punk dancing. And something bad happens to somebody. And no, I'm not kidding. They actually tried to recreate it, but it's like 1970s TV writers' conception of. And it's the band is like yelling death, death, murder, hate. And Quincy's in the audience going, what's happening? What's wrong?
This song was murdered.
This song was murdered.
Very
They're doing
nice.
Cole Porter.
Right. It's like when Elizabeth Berkley on Saved by the Bell got addicted to
That I know.
caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like.
See, now you're edging up into territory that Sona
Yes.
knows.
Now I know.
I'm trying to bring
Yeah.
it up a little bit.
Thank you for
It
doing
reminds me of the time Big Time Rush made that movie where they went to London and the bad guys tried to get them.
Huh?
Now I went too far into.
that. I know who Big Time Rush is, but I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Well,
It's
good to know about everything, Sona.
My kids don't know any of the stars that I know or think.
Well,
of.
that's what's interesting to me is that, like in your books, you're touching on all these characters that I know, and then I think I don't know, and I grew up knowing about stuff in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and once it's happening in your lifetime, you know it. But sometimes I get the suspicion that now a lot of kids don't know about anything that happened before them. Is that just me being a cranky old guy?
I think that might be you being a little bit of a. I mean, people know older things, but the things that you know are like shows that ran for one season that no one else talks about.
Quincy
Quincy
was a huge show.
Quincy was big. Yeah.
Was it, guys?
Yeah.
Quincy was a
Okay.
big show.
It was a huge show.
I
I
mean,
think
but there was also like 3 channels. So
That's true.
Everyone
It was a
had
different
to watch
time.
Quincy.
And Quincy was so big, it was on all 3 channels.
on all
at the
3
same
channels.
time.
Quincy.
Simulcast.
But the opposite's also true. I don't know what it's like with your kids, but my kids know people that I have no idea what they're talking. You know, when you go to the CVS or whatever and like the magazine cover, and I'm like, I have no idea who. There are 30
Well,
people
that's
on the cover.
Yes.
But you know what?
I don't know who any of them
That's
are.
reality television.
But
I think
okay.
because a lot of it is, Janet tells Kristen she better back off because Nico is hers, and it's something from Below Deck, the underwater series, whatever. And I don't know
That's
what
a
any
good
of it
show.
is.
That's a really good
can't
show.
be.
Sona doesn't know who I am. she's still figuring it out.
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you again? Yeah, I think it's funny because I was wondering these books must be because you're day job, I would think, gets very intense.
Yes.
And then so you spend a day talking about is
the end of democracy.
the system that was constructed 240 years ago possibly crumbling, and then it's okay, you can go home now, and maybe it's fun to go into a room and be these imaginary people that live in a different time.
Yep, and just yes, and during this political era, it's nice to run away from it all. Although there's a lot of resonance for what is going on today in this book, because the two plots. So it's Ike and Lucy tell the story. They're brother and sister. Ike is with Evel Knievel in Montana, and that becomes like kind of a plot about demagogues and people who follow demagogues. Like, why would you follow? Like, Evel Knievel decides he's going to run for president, kind of like a publicity stunt, and he and this gang of people who are living in the woods of Montana, including Ike, start following him to Washington, D.C. to raise hell. And so that was a way to kind of explore that topic. And then Lucy is working for a brand new tabloid in Washington, D.C. called the Washington Sentinel, which is being started by a British media magnate named Max Lyon, who is very obviously loosely based on Rupert Murdoch. So
in the book, you originally called him Goupert Gurdoch.
You saw an early draft.
And then your lawyers got involved. Goupert Gurdoch. Hello, mate. Goupert Gurdoch's the name.
Oh my God, I've never heard your Australian accent.
Oh, was
It's
that Australian?
I thought that was fantastic.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
But no, but 77. Do you get into any Star Wars in there?
Star Wars is
they're
mentioned.
mentioned.
It's mentioned at the beginning.
Just checking due diligence.
Ike and Rachel, the girl he's in love with, reference going to see Star Wars. Also, a film that I'm sure you're familiar with called Tentacles. Have you heard of Tentacles?
I don't think I have.
One of a million Jaws knockoffs.
Oh, okay.
Horrible movie, starred Henry Fonda. Like, it has all these huge actors. It's about a giant octopus.
I imagined.
And what you might not know is that octopi don't even have tentacles. They have arms. So it wasn't even named correctly.
Why
Why what?
Why everything?
Well, it was just, again, this is called the late 70s.
Yes.
And that summer of 77, I remember really well because I was and am a huge Elvis fan, and that's the summer that Elvis died.
Which is also a plot point in the book.
Oh.
And
The big caravan of Evel Knievel, they stop at Graceland and mourn Elvis.
and then he jumps over the casket
God.
and crashes.
You know, Graceland, by the way, at the time was not a museum. It was just where he lived.
That's where he lived. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
My house is now a museum, even before I go.
Really?
Yeah.
Like your presidential
and I'm the
library?
one, it's like when you go room to room and you push a button, it's me there. This is where I read the paper.
have you ever been in Graceland?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the White House, surprisingly small.
Yeah, it is very small. I mean, you can imagine when Elvis got Graceland and he's like 20
Right.
and he buys this house, he couldn't imagine a bigger home. And then all these years later, now that we live in this era of like McMansions and people being in big spaces, Graceland is like, oh, this is cozy.
It's nothing like Coneland.
No.
Which I've been to.
I'm going to build a Coneland.
Yeah.
I'm going to build it. It's going to be
Coneland is quite nice. I'm sure.
it's going to be in the Smoky Mountains.
Have they all been to Coneland?
You've been to Coneland many times.
Yeah.
Gourley,
I've been
Yeah.
yeah, you both have been to my home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Of course.
been there a few times you don't even know it.
Oh. That's
I saw you.
weird.
The camera caught you once.
I wanted that to happen.
Coneland is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a big tourist attraction. I'm the only guy that is trying to get the celebrity star bus to go by. I'm like waving them in.
Yeah.
Hello.
Actually, you send out Sona to give maps.
I do.
Yeah.
to the map people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just your house.
Right. Or sometimes I just say I'm Adam Sandler's house, and then from behind the hedge I go.
By the way, he killed at the Sandler Mark Twain Award. You did a great job.
It was fun. It was a really fun night.
Conan did a great job. He definitely put a lot of work into it in a good way. I mean,
Yeah, you got to. You got to prepare. You got to prepare. It's the way I prepare for these things.
but I'm just saying,
Mr. Tipper, with his new book, all the demons,
demons,
be here.
all the demons. Are
Yes,
here.
all the demons are here. I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but there's a saying no regrets, and I've never understood it, because I do have regrets. And one is when we were doing our show at TBS, you contacted me, and I had no idea you were serious. You said, I'd like to do the upholstery. I'd like to make you your talk show couch. And I was like, that's so hilarious, man. That's great. And then later on, you were like, no, I was serious. I would have made you would have made that. And I felt like such a lost opportunity to have a talk show where Jack White made my talk show couch.
I'm looking at 4 upholstered chairs right now. It's not too late.
That's true. Yeah, we should put you to work. But you were just
fabric, no welting on the edges. It's all right.
This is serious.
This guy. First of all, you did an apprenticeship for how many years as an upholsterer?
Many years. Yeah, I started when I was 15, and I had my own shop when I was 21. Then that's when the real learning begins. Is when you open your own place, because you have nobody to ask advice about anymore. So
right. So you opened your own shop.
Yeah.
Did it do well?
It did okay, yeah, but it did only sort of. I was so strange with it that it was, I was doing sculpture as well. So people were kind of, I started, everything became an art form with me. I was filling the insides of the furniture with poetry and the bills I was writing in crayon, like it would be yellow paper with black crayon, like you owe me $300. And I would present it to them, and I delivered a piece in a yellow and black uniform with a yellow van that was the old Detroit Fire Department van. And it was, people were like, what? And it's like not people probably would have got return customers for some of these people, but no return customers. But they would pass my name on, and it seemed funny because I always got just enough money from it to pay the bills. It was never any more than that. It was always broke even or less.
Are there people out there right now that have a couch that you've put poetry in and they don't know it?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Oh, right now people are listening to this just ripping their couches apart. Have you ever made like a leather quilted door? Those like
I've done those. Really? Yeah, button tufting it's called. Yeah. And
button tufting, asshole.
No, this is the first time
you
I
cut
agree
me
with
off
you.
before I could say it.
I'm an asshole for not saying that. I'm sorry.
I mean, so you did that for a while, and you're obviously pursuing music at the same time?
Yes. And that was kind of tough because I had a studio, so I was doing sculpture in there, like constructed sculpture and sort of carpentry-based stuff and garbage picking and putting that together in sort of hardware store art. I was thinking of it being sort of hardware store art and working on furniture there to pay the bills. And then also sometimes I would bring a guitar in there too, but that usually was a mistake because I would quit working on the furniture and go and play guitar and realize, oh my God, I've been playing for 2 hours sitting here. I should get back to work. And eventually that got to the point where the White Stripes got enough offers to go and play shows that I was taken away from the furniture enough that actually we started making enough money playing shows, which was shocking to us,
Yeah.
And so that was so then I eventually closed the shop up, but I kept everything and I rebuilt it in Nashville behind my house. So I still have it now.
Do you still do it sometimes? Do you still do some upholstery to just kill time?
Oh yeah, I did a lot of projects during the pandemic. The actually 20.
I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but there's a saying, no regrets, and I've never understood it because I do have regrets. And one is when we were doing our show at TBS, you contacted me. You must have moments where you've taken this crazy journey.
Too seriously?
Exactly. No, but I mean, you and I went to a Dodgers game together, and we're sitting in Dodger Stadium.
Next to Kendrick Lamar, by the way.
Yeah, next to Kendrick Lamar. I remember that.
Next to
and then they start, and Bob Newhart was there. It was a kooky
It's one of those nights where
gathering
you're with Conan, Kendrick, and Newhart, and you're just asking yourself.
If I had a dime.
No, it was the craziest group. And so anyway, we're there.
Wait, are all 4 of you literally together? Or they just happened to be there? Okay.
I went with Jack. We went, and it was such a cool night for me because we drove over, and on the way over, you were like, "Oh, I'll play you some new music I've been working on" in the car. And first of all, rock and roll always beats comedy. Comedians don't get to do that. I can't say like, "Oh, I did an interview. Hold on a second, with David Spade, and I want to play you a couple of tracks from it."
let's really boost the bass on David Spade's voice.
It doesn't work that way. So, but you get to play this amazing music, and I'm like, shit, it is better to be a rock star.
I don't know.
So anyway, we get to Dodger Stadium. We hook up with our posse, Kendrick Lamar, Bob Newhart, and
Oh my God.
I remember sitting with you in Dodger Stadium, and they start to go doom 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 doom, and you're just sitting there, and I'm like, this has become an anthem that is ubiquitous across the globe, and everyone knows how it goes. And it's one of the most famous, licks, riffs, tunes ever. And I was just sitting with you, going like, "Oh right, this is you." I think I started to make up lyrics about money's coming in your pocket. And you're like, I am making some money. But it reminded me like how fucking freaky that must be.
It's strange, yeah. My mother was a huge fan of the movie Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yeah, me too. I love that movie.
I still love it to this day. And so he's obviously playing the character George M. Cohan, and who had written the big World War I song Over There. And at the last scene in the movie, I think he walks out of the White House, and there's a parade of soldiers singing Over There, and he's walking with them. Yeah, and
yep.
We've got a soldier next to him. James Cagney says, "What's the matter, old timer? You don't know this song?"
Yeah.
And
he wrote it.
Yeah, and he wrote it. And I think of that every time I hear that Seven Nation Army on a sports broadcast or something on TV. It has the same feeling that it's not mine anymore. I mean, it becomes folk music when things like that happen. It becomes something that the more people don't know where it came from, the happier I am. The more it just becomes, ubiquitous. And I'm sure many people are chanting the melody, have no idea what the song is or where it came from or why or whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. And that's just amazing.
Right. And it's funny because over time, you will even lose your connection to where you were sitting when you came up with that.
Oh, it's
what I mean?
Yeah,
Or you guys probably banged that out and said
so quickly. We filmed it.
Let's go get a donut now. And that's the level of intensity,
We filmed that.
You must have moments where you've taken this crazy journey.
Too seriously?
Exactly. No, but I mean, you and I went to a Dodgers game together, and we're sitting in Dodger Stadium.
Next to Kendrick Lamar, by the way.
Yeah, next to Kendrick Lamar. I remember that.
Next to
and then they start, and Bob Newhart was there. It was a kooky
It's one of those nights where
gathering
you're with Conan, Kendrick, and Newhart, and you're just asking yourself,
if I had a dime.
No, it was the craziest group. And so anyway, we're there.
Wait, are all four of you literally together, or they just happened to be there? Okay.
I went with Jack. We went, and it was such a cool night for me because we drove over. Let's strip away all of the madness. Would you call us friends? Yes. Come on, we are. We're friends. We're pals.
We are.
You can plead the fifth on this. You don't have to answer this.
We are friends.
Do you understand that you are like catnip to me? Your very presence makes me insane. You've seen it, Sona, right?
It really is. It's very specific people. When they're around him, he lights up, and then he's like, oh, the amount of things he can think of. And you know what? You play along, and I think it just empowers him.
So this is a true story. Just before we started this podcast, here at our new podcast studio space here in Larchmont in Los Angeles, I see that you've just entered and you're walking down towards the podcast studio, and I get so excited I turn to Sona, who is eating what?
I was eating some chocolate. I was eating a Crunch bar and a small Snickers bar. I had them.
And what did I do? I was so excited.
This was awful. In one hand, I had like a wrapper, and then you knocked the wrapper out of my hand, and then I grabbed the chocolate out of my mouth because I'm angry. Then you knock that out of my hand, and then you step on it, and you laugh. And
like a maniac.
Just like a maniac.
It was the behavior of, look, I am a 44-year-old grown man.
Oh, sir.
45. Oh, sir. I am a 78-year-old man who should know better. And I literally do become a giddy puppy when you're around, and I behave in an insane manner. And I hope you take it as a compliment that it should be.
Love it. I love it. But also, again, when you think back to where you were and where you are, I can't believe, like, I'm hanging out with you, you know? Like, I used to watch you on my TV.
You didn't own a television.
That was your takeaway?
My takeaway from that very nice statement was, you didn't own a television.
I know, he's being so nice.
No, that was, listen, that was, I don't take it for granted either. And we went out to dinner, we won't say with who, a very famous comedy person
Famous
just the
people
other
are
night.
The best.
You and I had a really nice. You and I had a really nice dinner the other night with a famous person who won't be mentioned.
Great.
But we had a blast with Hader. It was great. And
Was it really?
He didn't say first name, though.
yeah. I won't say which Hader. But he went on his way, and then I walked you to your car, and we hugged each other. It was quite late at night.
Yeah.
And I hugged you, and I went, "Well, love you, Jack." You didn't say anything in return.
I don't remember that.
You blacked out.
Blacked out, and you just let me get behind the wheel?
Wait, did he really? Did that hurt your feelings? Were you waiting for it? Did it linger?
I knew he couldn't do it. He's a cartoon mule. He's not going to say, I love you back.
Believe it. Like, he probably first couldn't even process it. Was in denial, and then grief, and then...
Or making sure that you were being sincere.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe I've stung you so many times that you couldn't.
I think so.
Well, I love hanging out with you. You are one of my favorite people. Every time I see you, this is as sincere as I can be. Every time I lay eyes on you, I am a giddy kid at Christmas. And I don't care. I know at some point you and I are going to exchange real information about each other.
We did good.
Today
was good.
Today we did pretty well.
Today was good.
Today was the start. Today was the start. You're going to have to go through and pick through this. God. Find the moments and string it together like a conversation.
For real, this will not make sense to anybody.
This is one of the more lucid ones, really.
No.
It is pretty good. But anyway, and before we go, we have a special surprise guest.
Who?
Your first donkey.
Wow.
Out of control. I just did it because I don't know if they can see your reaction. This just absolute.
We're all so embarrassed.
Yeah, we really are.
We're all so embarrassed.
We were heading towards a beautiful denouement.
He can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Wonderful conclusion. And then you
sorry.
brayed like a donkey.
Like a donkey. You go to Second City, and there you meet, you hit the sweet spot, because tell me who's there when you're there.
Okay, so the first show I saw at Second City, I moved there in the summer of '95. I just graduated college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to go to a big city that wasn't necessarily Atlanta. You know, I just wanted to see more of the country, more of the world. I moved to Chicago. So the summer of '95, there was this crazy heat wave in Chicago, and it killed people. Like 800 people died in Chicago that year. God. So here I am with my cardboard suitcase.
No one to blame but yourself now. Gosh.
No.
Like, that train's up in the sky.
Okay. The elevated train in Chicago. No, I get it. So that was my first, taste of life in the big city. And it was so hot. One of my roommates was saying, like, hey, you know what? There's a comedy theater downtown. They do free improv after their show, cheap beer, and it's air conditioned. I was like, sold. So I went to Second City for one of their free improv sets, and I'll never forget it. That was like my, bing, my
aha moment.
Exactly. So it would have been, I think, Adam McKay, John Glazer, Kevin Dorff, Rachel Dratch, Jenna Jolovitz, and I think Scott Allman were on stage then. And so that's when I just fell in love. And it really was one of those things where I was like, this is what I do with my friends, just like hanging out. They're doing this for a job. This whole audience is eating them up with a spoon. And so I was like, I want to do this. So I signed up for the classes, and, I would just keep going back to shows. I would see Tina Fey, who joined the main stage, taking the place of John Glazer. It was just so fun to see the evolution of these things. And for me, like the feather in my cap, and of course going all through all that, but from remembering that point in 1995
Mm-hmm.
to working my way up and then being able to work with Adam McKay and being able to work with John Glazer and Rachel Dratch and Tina Fey and Kevin Dorff and like all these people who like inspired me. That's pretty cool. It was fun, and I do not take it for granted.
It's funny because you mentioned all those people, and I think there's obviously a couple that went to SNL, but there's so many people you mentioned there that ended up being writers for me, performers for me, and just realizing, that whole generation of comedic performers were people that I got to work with. And then you come to New York.
They were the bridge that got me to you.
Yeah, you came to New York and you started doing stuff for us. And then it was really fun because for years you did bits for us. Mm-hmm. Then you get cast in 30 Rock and you start coming on as a celebrity, which was, just wrong.
Wait, what?
No. No, it was really cool to see that happen for you. It's no fun when I'm sincere, but God damn it, it's just not as funny. I'll get the sincere shit out of the way, but it was really nice to see you. You were always a very talented and funny, sweet guy, and you did all this great work for us, and then you became Jack McBrayer, and we would have you on as Jack McBrayer, and the crowd would be like, oh my God, there he is.
Right?
When you didn't have to be dressed as a mule or a spinning wheel or anything.
I just chose to.
Yeah, exactly. You still came on as a mule, but that was your choice. So, but you come on, and when Tina approached you to play this page, Kenneth, on the show on 30 Rock, did you look at the character and just know exactly how to do it?
I did.
Yeah. She kind of wrote to you.
She did, and I don't think that's any secret at all, but I knew Tina from Chicago Second City days. Her husband, Jeff Richmond, was my director at Second City. So I was definitely connected to them, and they knew my work. So when it came time for her to write the pilot for 30 Rock, they did add a page, and I think it was written towards me. I still had to audition and everything, but man, I'm glad.
How did you prepare for that? Did you?
Well, I knew that script backwards and forwards because even though Tina was really rooting for me, I still had to prove myself to all the network, the studio, all that kind of thing. So I got prepared, and I don't know if you know this story. Do you all know the story about when I put myself on tape for the 30 Rock audition? Mm-hmm. I happened to be in New York, so this would have been the summer of 2005. Mm-hmm. And I happened to be in New York, I think, for an improv festival. Tina got wind that I was in town, so she was like, hey, I know you're in town. Will you stop by the NBC casting people, put yourself on tape for the untitled Tina Fey pilot? And I was like, yeah. So I knew, because I knew that she had kind of tailored it towards me, I needed to crush this. I needed to knock it out of the park. So besides being very prepared, I was like, how can I make the best impression possible? I've actually played a page on Conan's late night show multiple times. I wonder if, so I called up y'all's page desk, and I got up there and I talked to wardrobe. I was like, can I borrow just for 20 minutes a page uniform? And they're like, yeah, whatever. So they put me in there. Your hair and your makeup people gussied me up, and I went upstairs to the whatever floor, put myself on tape for the untitled Tina Fey pilot, and that is the tape that got me through the studio, through the network. It got me the job.
Is it fair for me to say that you
owe
me?
Whatever you're going to say. No.
You can't. You used my people.
No, absolutely
you used my wardrobe. You used my makeup.
Okay.
No.
And see, this was supposed to be a nice story, and here you go.
Well, I'm sure I deserve some percentage.
I'm sure you don't.
Percentage?
That's from my law school.
I did not know that. I did not know that you had stepped on my back to reach this great height. But whatever, I'm used to it. What else is new? Because you play that part, and I occasionally remember, wait a minute, I'm in the early 30 Rocks. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Because I remembered Tina coming by to shoot a part where I think Tracy was on my show.
The episode is called Tracy Does Conan.
Yeah,
and then the 6th episode of the first season.
Wow. Yeah, and then she has. I guess we used to go out was the idea.
Correct.
I think I was Tina's Liz Lemon's old boyfriend.
Correct. Y'all were supposed to lose your virginity to each other.
Yes, yeah. And then, which is very plausible. And then I did a scene. I remember I had a scene with Alec Baldwin on the show once, and that was just the very beginning of the show. And then the show took off.
Yeah.
They did not need me anymore.
You came back. We made many references to you.
Yes, I remember. I think Tim Conway's character had a great
reference.
It was such a funny joke. Tim Conway says, I saw Conan O'Brien in the hallway with a guitar, because I used to just walk around 30 Rock with a guitar. I always have a guitar on, just a nervous habit. So I think Tim Conway's line was something like, I saw Conan O'Brien. Who is she and why is she so sad?
I think it was like, I saw a tall lesbian with a guitar. Who is Conan and why is she so sad?
Okay, better. Such a great saw a tall lesbian in the hallway. But it makes me very happy. Hey, I want to make sure, because I knew when I talked to you we would have such a great time. Chomp. I want to make sure that I mention this film that you've made, which looks like an absolute blast, Borderlands.
Yeah.
And you are, this is based on a video game.
This is why I'm here, actually.
Yeah.
I'm here to talk about Borderlands.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just trying to cut this part out.
So it's based on a video game that I actually played several years ago. I think it was close to 20 years ago that I played the first time I played Borderlands. It's been around forever. One of the things that's cool about it is that it looks like the characters and the world was pulled straight out of a comic book. Like you can see the line.
Yeah.
And you don't see that in other, or you didn't back when they first made this video game. Kind of a mind-blowing technique that they were using. And it's kind of like a Road Warrior, where it looks like a post-apocalyptic desert landscape, and they got the really intense muscle-bound freaks. They call them the what do they call them? The berserkers. And you've got this incredible bounty hunter, or they call him oh man, I am bad at explaining movies.
It's why I tried not to get to it.
I should have looked at a cheat sheet or something before I came in.
Let me help you out here.
Tomb hunters.
But you know what? I was so I'm watching it that we didn't get they didn't send us the whole film. There was some link that didn't work. That's their story anyway. But I was watching a bunch of footage from it, which they did supply.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett,
the best,
is in this. Jamie Lee Curtis,
the best.
Kevin Hart,
the best.
They can't all be the best.
They can all be the best in their lane.
Nice. Got it. Got it. And then I say, Conan O'Brien, silence.
The best.
The best. You know who does that? Sandler, about everything.
Oh, really?
Adam Sandler. My Adam Sandler impression is I'll be talking to him and I'll be like, yeah. And then we're staying in the same hotel. And I went, yeah, I tried the hot dog. The best. And then, whatever. I'll be like, yeah. And I don't know. World War I was really terrible. But World War II felt like it had like at least an ethical reason for happening. The best. World War II is the best. I just love that. I always do that when I'm around him. The best. Anyway, you have this insane cast.
Yeah.
And but I love the voice of this robot Claptrap.
Yeah.
And it seems like a new take. How would you describe Claptrap? Because it's actually very funny.
Well, he's a helper robot that is kind of like the R2-D2 comic relief of the movie, but he's also got a bitter undertaste.
Yes,
like
there's an R-rated tinge to this Claptrap.
He hates this mission. He hates this world, and he secretly hopes that everyone on this team dies. But
other than that, just like R2-D2.
But he's programmed to help, so he's helping. But yeah, under protest. And it was a blast to do, but I do have to admit, I never went to the set. I did my whole role in a recording studio before they started filming. And I had a great time doing that. I love the voice work. Sure. It is the best. The best! The best! And I did that, and then a couple months later, I knew they were all in Bulgaria, just in the deep mire of these these landscapes that are like hellish. Not that Bulgaria is hellish, but they found the hellish parts.
Sure.
And
good save.
I got a DM on my Instagram message service from Jamie Lee Curtis because we follow each other, and she said, "Where the fuck are you? We're all here knee deep in the hellish shit, and I find out you are in the see me, wherever you are in doing your recordings on the recording studio." And I said, "I love you, and I am there in spirit, and I will see you on the red carpet." But yeah, it's all love.
Well, it looks super funny. I'm looking forward to it, and also interesting. You've done a bunch of video game related movies: Super Mario Brothers movie, Jumanji. I mean, this is a Minecraft, right?
Yeah, and I know that you're no stranger to the world of video games.
Video games,
and my son actually told me about your experiences with Hideo Kojima.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I was in Japan, and Hideo Kojima. Why don't you jump in on this?
Yeah, Kojima invited us to his studio.
Hideo Kojima?
Yeah, I think it's Kojima.
Oh,
Hideo
finally,
Kojima.
someone you listened to someone's pronunciation.
And so we went to his studio, and it was still super. Death Stranding was super top secret, and they asked you to be in the game, and so you went in and got scanned.
They scanned,
It was wild.
But also, there was a lot of they would check the angle of what we were shooting because they didn't want us to see even the people that were at their screens working on the game in the background. It was so much. It was like I was in. I was at the Manhattan Project while they were making the bomb, and they were like, "Yeah, okay, we're gonna let you."
Yeah, the NDA was like a phone book. It was crazy.
It was insane,
but it was really such.
It's fun.
A cool
I love being an Easter egg in things because you never know who's gonna see it, who's gonna get to that level, and suddenly Conan O'Brien's ruining their adventure.
And I think in the game, what's great about in the game, if they talk to you and they follow your quest, they can get a special hat made out of raccoon skin that helps you swim faster. I mean, it's awesome. It's really it's a cool role.
That was my request.
Okay.
And Hideo Kojima.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you hear about him having collabs with some very big luminaries. Jordan Peele, you might have heard of, is in there. And you also hear him mixing it up with, who's the incredible filmmaker who did A Splash of Water, The Feeling of Water?
Oh, Guillermo del Toro.
Thank you. That's not the name of that movie either, by the way. But some incredible filmmakers. And you see that crossover happening, right, with Hideo Kojima and the film industry. And I'm always fascinated by where those two worlds meet.
Well, you're in it. I mean, you are. There's a world of video games, and one of the things that makes sense to me is that there's such great storytelling. My son is a fan of very good video games, and so I will, through him, experience what amazing storytelling there is, and so it makes sense that there would be movies.
Well, you see some of these games, and they do come across super cinematic, like. I love me some Rockstar games, specifically Red Dead Redemption Part 2, and it's very much like a film, long form film, and then you see some TV shows and movies that, well, only one really that comes to mind is that Black Mirror. The movie, what's that called?
Bandersnatch.
Yeah. Bandersnatch. Where it is
Listen to the difference between the way Blay said it. Blay went, Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
And then you went, yes, Bandersnatch. There's a reason this guy's a star.
Bandersnatch. My stank filter. And it's a choose your own adventure, and it's very much a video game, and it's about video games. And you could see between Red Dead Redemption 2 and Bandersnatch, they're both kind of bridging the gap between those two forms, and I feel like that's the direction we're moving in. It feels like video games are kind of taking over that space, and you can feel the movie industry kind of trembling under the hooves of the apocalypse.
The concept. Hooves of the apocalypse.
I know that I went off the rails.
It's the seven horsemen of the. I guess you're right. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna let it go. But you don't know. Maybe the future of movies is you deciding which way you want to go in the movie.
But in the meantime, these movies about video games
Would
that
you
are based
chew
on
and
video
swallow,
games.
please, before you make this very prescient point about where theater's going and movies?
I mean, not all of them, but a lot of the movies based on video game stories are huge hits, and I think that's because of the audience, the young audience. Maybe you've noticed that the new generation of gamers worship you because of your.
God, you're saying the nicest thing about me, but I have to wait while you masticate an old apple.
My sons worship you. They love
nice.
them some Conan. And I wonder if you feel that in the world out there where it's like this new generation.
Oh, that's it. Definitely. I'm shocked, and I often lecture them. You shouldn't know who I am.
It's not just because of Kojima, but it's also because of this energy that you have. And I think it's the same thing that made the days when I first met you electric. Is that this sense of adventure and this like throwing people out there out of a cannon? They can sense that vibe.
No, it's Jesus. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it is very interesting that when I walk around or when people walk around with me, it's still in 1993, 15 and 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds like me. In 2024, it's the same, and people my age are like, aren't you dead?
But you can feel, this is what I'm saying, that you can feel the liquidity of the industry where it's like TV and movies, people aren't even really watching them so much anymore. Now it's Netflix is kind of, and the video games, it's you can feel the shift. And
to me, it's less about the delivery system. It's always been the delivery system you have to almost assume is unimportant. It's you just put your thing out there and there will be, like now we're doing this. And probably, in fact, Adam could say, but more people probably experience a pure hit of me this way than they ever would have if I was still doing a late night show. That was not the plan, but just keep doing your thing and you'll find the delivery system.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I do.
Yeah.
And I also wonder, even sometimes when I'm not 100% confident about the material that I have, and part of me is like, it almost doesn't matter. What matters more is the energy behind the material. Like if you're coming in that kind of loose, relaxed way, and you deliver it with an energy, I don't know where I'm going now.
No, but and that can all make a difference. But Bryan Cranston was here, and he said something really smart once. He said, I was talking about, he's such an incredible actor, and he said, you know what? A really great actor can get B material to a B plus, A minus material to an A, but they can't. The script is so important.
Yeah.
That he said, if you give me a B minus script, I'm not giving you, the movie will not be an A plus, or the performance will be, it just can't be. So you gotta.
Okay, then how come the funniest movie I ever saw was F's across the board? Did you ever check out The Room, for instance? That's a classic.
But that's an example of, that's just every now and then a meteor hits a tree, the tree flies up, and the tree explodes into pieces, and all the pieces reassemble into a Stradivarius violin. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Said the guy who's pretty sure it's never happened. But that's an example of sometimes there's a happening, but you can't make that the formula. That can't be the formula.
That's true.
All right, I got to wrap this up because all the air just left your body, and I worry about you.
We did good. And I ate almost this whole apple.
Yeah, you really did. And you know what?
Bites if you
and
want to
guess
get that
what?
on mic.
Guess what? It was free. It's a free apple.
Hi, my name is Jack Black, and I feel magnificent about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
That's a nice thing to say.
Honestly, it's the first thing that came into my head. I should have prepared a word because I know this is what happens.
Last time you were on, you said shitty.
I said shitty?
Yeah. And now it's magnificent? What happened?
It's a fine line between shitty and magnificent.
It's not a fine line.
It's a broad line.
It's a massive chasm.
Well, shitty, I think I was going for the laugh, and magnificent, I was just going for my actual feelings in the moment.
Oh, that's really sweet. That's really nice. And you're the first guy or woman who brought me an apple. You brought me an apple.
I did. My father has an apple orchard in Washington, and I had him FedEx in an ice box. I'm kidding. I got that from your green room.
Damn! Oh my God,
and honestly, I was going to eat it myself. But then as soon as I stepped in here, it's like, I'm giving it to Conan.
Take your apple. Ow!
Yeah.
You know what? Was there a second where you thought his dad really...
I was on board that whole time.
You know why? Because there's a kernel of truth. My father did have an apple orchard. He switched over to grapes.
Boo.
Huh.
Boo.
It's hard work farming.
I boo.
I don't know. I like to boo arbitrary things like, yay, apple, boo, grapes.
33.
What
so
happened?
now I'm thinking about how old my dad is. Born in 1941.
Okay, I can do the math on that. He's
Do it.
111.
No, he's like 84. He's getting up there for farm work, but he's still living on the farm keeps him healthy.
My dad, 95.
No way.
Yeah, and he's he spots people at the gym, that's what he does for a living.
Great genes.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't work out. His torso always falls off the minute he grabs the weight.
Dude, spotting is no joke.
And he doesn't bleed. Just a weird dust comes out. I'm telling you, they sew him back up and he's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you gotta
As jokes
respect
go,
his
that
work
was an
ethic.
apple. Listen, we're going to get a lot of good apple crunch going right now in this podcast. That's nice.
Yeah. What do they call that? The thing the kids do now with the sounds?
ASMR. What was I going for?
What did you say?
Yeah, synesthesia. What's the one where a kid can't stand?
Misophonia.
Yeah,
misophonia.
Misophonia.
Yeah.
Is it misophonia? I don't know. That one.
Me so horny.
Okay, I let it go. You know what I did? I saw it and I let it go. I saw it and I let it go, and you grabbed it, and that's the
Full Metal
difference.
Jacket.
That's right.
I see what you're doing. Full Metal Jack Blackett. Me so honey.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey,
That's exactly what I was doing.
Jack, as you're chomping away on that apple like an animal, I mean, a horse.
It's so good.
A horse has more dignity eating an apple than you are right now. You're out of control.
Also, I could have gotten A in this class if I had just let you think I got you this apple, but instead I took it back.
And you've angered me. And you've angered.
I'm going to say worth it, though. Every
Worth it?
bite is another delicious explosion. You got good apples.
You know, this beard that your face has generated is insane. Look at that beard. That's a crazy beard. And all I'm wondering is how much food, because I'm looking at you eat the apple, and I think a third of the apple is going into the beard, Jack.
So much of my food goes into my beard nowadays. It's funny. It's certain foods. Apples, I'm not going to get any apple in my beard. Maybe some apple juice.
Yeah.
But the food that gets in there, obviously, it's the soups.
Yep.
Anything that's got that you have to eat with a spoon is going to end up in my beard.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, it's great. I get to eat it later. It's not great.
No.
And whenever it happens, a lot of times I will go and take a shower right after a meal because the napkin won't get it off. You'll still have residue in the hairs.
Did you just say residue?
I did.
What is that, the French form of residue?
That's a liquid U.
Residue. I did it on purpose. I like it. I like to use the liquid U.
I like that you keep touching your beard, though, and running your fingers through it. It's like a sensual experience for you constantly.
It is, and I know when I shave it, and that's coming soon, I'm going to miss the tactile experience of pulling on the beard. But I actually was planning on getting a little trim before I came in here because it's a little unruly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know how you get split ends on your hair if you let it go too long and too untrimmed? Same deal with the beard.
Now, there's a beard wax, I'm told.
Yeah.
You can put on would you ever try anything like that? Wax it up a little bit.
I'm not against waxing. I'm impressed by the people that win the prizes for best beard and mustache, where they go
It's
curly
mustache.
cues.
Don't say stop it. Stop just changing things arbitrarily. Mustache.
It's a crutch. I do change words. I do enjoy changing words, and I don't know if you're going to break me of it today.
No.
But I have never used the wax because I like to run my fingers through it, and then my fingers would get all waxy.
Yeah.
But I have used the oil, the beard oil.
Yeah.
But I found out the hard way, you don't want to overdo it. Because I used some beard oil before a big concert in Germany. We played this festival called Rock am Ring. And there's like 100,000 people in the audience. They're not there to see us. They're there to see Metallica or whoever. And I put on a bunch of beard oil before because I wanted to be extra, I don't know.
Oily.
I wanted to be, well, I just wanted the beard to be looking
fierce. Yeah.
Fierce and rocking. And when I went back and watched the replay of the thing, they had recorded it. I saw that you could see my skin underneath my beard was all shiny and greasy, and it was because I put too much on, and you don't want to touch the skin underneath the beard.
No.
So from now on, when I do it, I didn't do it today. I just grab the tips of the beard and
tease it out.
I tease it out. So you got to be subtle with it. Just a little tip for all you beard and mustachios out there.
No, that's half our audience is beard and mustachios.
You know the best thing about that oils?
What?
The way it makes you smell. It's better than cologne because it's just a hint of like muskrat. I don't know what the different. Not muskrat. What is it?
It's got a certain musk, is what you're trying to say.
There's
an animal
different
musk.
flavors like sandalwood.
Yeah.
Or what's the one that's kind of minty but it smells like the forest? Pine.
Okay, gee, take it easy. Jesus, Jack, it's just pine. Listen, first of all, you've got El Diablo eyebrows. They are pointed straight up, and you'll say like, what is that again? That when you're in the forest, pine. And suddenly a hellhound has come up and has attacked us to steal our souls, and you're just talking about pine scent.
I love that you called my eyebrows El Diablo.
El Diablo.
They are El Diablo. I've always called them my Ernie Borgnines.
Nice.
When they start going out of control, when I get some stray hairs up there. But once again, I had someone coming over to my house to spruce me up before I came here.
Yep.
And I think our wires got crossed, and that did not happen. So I'm here in my completely unvarnished state.
Yeah.
Straight out of the forest.